Yeah, that front office certainly has a responsibility to clean that roster up. I've never understood the roster, even going back to the Bogdanovich thing. I just didn't get it. I feel like you're acquiring a lot of players who can do the same thing, and then you have the ridiculous John Collins stuff that comes up every. You signed a player to a max or near max extension. You signed a player that you clearly don't want. You were trying to play some sort of leverage game here, or some sort of NBA chess game, and every trade deadline, every offseason, there's some report from some reporter that the Atlanta Hawks are going to move forward with John Collins because they couldn't get what they wanted in the trade. Now, they don't include that part, but everybody reads it the same way. They're not going to get what they want in a trade for John Collins because everyone knows they're desperately trying to move John Collins. And it becomes look, here's the offer. You could take it or you can keep John Collins. I know you don't want that player. Why am I going to overpay for him in a trade? And every NBA team who has ever called and inquired about John Collins has said the same thing. I'll just walk away. I don't care. Yeah. I like it. It could work, but I'm not gonna bid against myself, and I'm certainly not gonna overbid against another team that probably don't want him either. We'll both wind up walking away. You'll put your stupid little tweet out, and you'll go play basketball with John Collins, and then you'll underachieve again this year because you've built your roster wrong. It goes back to the bogey stuff. I know we don't see eye to eye on this, but this is why I think if you're Monty McNair, you don't sign Bogdanovich. Everyone says, I'm sure people in Atlanta thought, trade him and figure it out later. Trade him and figure it out later. Here's the problem. This is what it looks like when you can't figure it out. When figure it out later becomes 2 years later, we can't trade him. I know the money was very different, but that was always my concern. You weren't going to be able to figure it out. We say that as if it's easy. It's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I think that when you're Atlanta, you got, first of all, a changeover in the front office in the midst of all this. And one front office might have wanted to trade him, another one didn't. Then they wanted to give this new look, a shot where they had DeJounte Murray and Trae Young and John Collins playing together. Like, didn't they play together at like a pro-am or something? Like you're starting to see like, hey, this could actually be something that's intriguing to somebody. But now you have a whole new front office. And again, they've like the first sales sign is now like fallen off and it's hanging on by like one nail, like really low, and it's swinging and all the numbers are faded off of it. Like you're not going to get what you thought and at this point, I don't know that you can trade John Collins without taking back really, really bad contracts.
So that's the other side of this. If you really want to trade John Collins, you're going to take a punch. You could throw the punch with trading John Collins. You're going to take a punch back.
Oh, totally.
And you have to decide whether you're willing to take that punch or not.
I like, again, someone who covers the Kings, I could still make the argument that John Collins would fit perfectly fine in Sacramento. I can. Like, is he a great defender? No, but John Collins can rebound. He can block shots. He can shoot a three. Did any of that look good this year? No, but again.
So what's it look like then? There's a great, what does it look? What's a trade for John Collins and that contract look like?
Well, I'm not giving up much and they're taking back something, so.
What is there to take back? Oh, well, I know.
Well, they're taking back Rich.
Yeah. You're taking back Rashawn.
Yeah. They're taking back Rich and I'm pulling all the restrictions on the 2024 pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably it. Mm-hmm. Would you take John Collins for $12 million a year?
For the deal yes, I would do that.
Okay.
I would do that.
So that's where I'm like, hey, like people say you'd be crazy to trade for him. No, because John Collins is still a serviceable player. Is he as good as we thought he would be?
Yeah, John Collins doesn't. I don't mean to imply that I think John Collins isn't good. If you think the fit works, okay, I'm with it. I have questions, but I'll ride with it.
Okay.
But it really boils down to the return.
I'm not giving up
the return
hardly anything.
Just not. That return doesn't bother me because That has to be the mindset of any front office that inquires about John Collins.
Yeah.
We're not over. They're taking something back, and you're selling it as, bro, we're doing you a favor.
Yeah, because John Collins is owed 25, 26 and a half, and 26 and a half. And the final one is a player option. But again, you're looking at, what is he, 25, 26? So I'm at least, I would at least listen. I would listen to some sort of, like multiple seconds, pull the restrictions off to 2024.
He's not a
But
3-point shooter.
well, he was a 3-point shooter. He shot 38.9% like 2 years ago.
No, he didn't last year.
39. Okay, so he went 40.1, 39.9 as a 22-year-old, as a 23-year-old, 36.4, and then he plummeted to 29.2. He has a finger issue, but we're talking about a guy who at age 22 averaged 21.6 and 10 rebounds per game.
So what's he on his career? 35, 34?
What's that?
Percent? What is he on his career? You had the
35.6
on his career.
And that's with him shooting 29.2 this last season, which was by 5% his worst season ever. And he's 25. He'll be 26 in September. Like, he fits the
works
age
with
arc.
Domas.
He works with Domas. There's a point in his career where he averaged 1.6 blocks per game. I mean, this is a player that, like, if you can get him right, but the question is, can you get him right? And can you get him to make good decisions?
Well, maybe the greater question is it the team? Is it the roster? Is it the makeup? Is it their approach to basketball that hindered him this year? You mentioned the finger issue. Did all of that play a part? Or is he just off?
I don't know.
As you say, is he not right, and you got to correct it?
I think you got a chance that you could recover him, and you could find a perfectly good player there. Like, if I'm taking him or Kyle Kuzma, and I know a lot of people go, "Oh, I take Kuzma every time." I'm like, that's tough for me. I think he's a guy that I think the potential for him to be better than Kyle Kuzma is still there.
So the other follow-up to this is this John Collins idea. Hypothetically, Atlanta, counter offers. Monty likes the counter offer, sends the deal. All right, John Collins is here. That means Keegan Murray's definitively a 3. Okay.
Especially if you have Sasha Vezenkov, who can give you that other stuff that you're talking about.
And you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm probably okay with that. I don't know. It's worth at least exploring, because I think, like, again, we're looking at a player who's had coaches, who's had multiple coaches, who's played with a very selfish player who his stats somehow don't look selfish, but he is, and Trae Young. And then DeJounte Murray, I don't think that's great either. And then a center that can't pass at all.
Yeah.
Like, you got a bunch of problems on that team.
Clint Capella is a very specific type of player. It's Clint Capella excelled in Houston with Chris Paul, because Chris Paul he's a very point guard. Like, one thing we know about Chris Paul, he's going to get a center over. Like, that's why we joked about if you're Phoenix and you're moving on from Chris Paul for whatever, move him to San Antonio. Let that be the start of Victor Wembanyama's career. But I don't know that Clint Capella is just the guy you take somewhere and throw him in somewhere else and it works. He has a almost one-dimensional skill set. John Collins stuff is interesting, though, depending on the asking price.